little bit.
Thanks, Peter. I was just saying to Pat, it feels a bit weird. I arrived here in the dark and I'm going to leave here in the dark as well. So I don't know if I'm spending too much time here. But yeah, as Peter said, I've been here since October. So came in, probably the biggest points that I had to work on here, which is some of the biggest issues, was obviously the thatch and the greens. So we've come up with some ideas there and working very good. I took some thatch measurements yesterday, and I actually shocked myself that we started with about 35 to 40 millimetres of thatch, and we're down the other way. So we're at 30 to 35. So I've dropped it 5 mil in 7 months, which I was very shocked about, considering our procedures haven't really gone to plan. We've been quite weather affected in some needle tining and some coring and stuff like that. So the 5 mil drop is quite good. I think a couple of practices in minimising our water practices on the greens and our dusting. So dusting, for example, I've put out 60 tonne of sand in 7 months, sort of thing. So which is quite a good amount that we've got out there. So we're achieving quite a bit there. So still a lot of work to do with the thatch, because we only want about 10 to 15 millimetres of thatch in the greens profile. So there's still quite a lot of work to go there. But I'm very pleased within 7 months to drop it that much, sort of thing. So the greens are going well. I'm very happy with the grass coverage that we have. There may be a little bit too much leaf on them, I would say that right now. But I think it's a good thing going into winter to have a good coverage going out, rather than the weather doesn't look ideal. I don't know if anyone's seen the forecast for next week, but it's even more horrendous. So to go into winter with a bit more coverage on the greens, I think is going to be a big benefit at the back end of the winter season going into summer, so then we can really tighten the greens up from there, sort of thing. So that's pretty much been my biggest focus, has been the greens. So no programs have really changed. I think just my magic word of the whole time has been gypsum. Plenty of gypsum gone out. I think there's 4.5 tonne of gypsum I've put on the greens as well, sort of thing. So that's helping the profile infiltrate the water through. So I still come back to my second day of studying. I had to actually cancel the Ladies Club Championships round because there was water sitting on the servers after 10 mils of rain. So now we can get 10 mils of rain and it feels like nothing's happened, something like that. So the gypsum's playing a big part in that, in infiltrating that water through the profile, so we get firmer greens and not having to cancel any events due to water sitting on the surface, which 10 mils of rain should never have to close a golf course like that, sort of thing. So greens are behaving well. Fairways, I'm extremely happy with the fairways. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually really enjoy working with Kike. I've been growing up on Cooch and everything like that sort of thing. So I'm really happy with the way the fairways are, and even this wet weather, how they've handled. I think the sand grooving's had a big part in that, keeping it dry over this, because I think once you step off those fairways, you find a lot of undrained areas in the roughs, something like that. So yeah, I think we've been quite lucky with the way the fairways have performed due to this wet period, something like that. Zoysia, very different. As say, I try to pick a lot of brains, but there's not many brains in Sydney that have much idea about zoysia, because it's a very rare grass to have in Sydney, sort of thing. So I was actually quite lucky. I had a 2-hour webinar with the lead grower of zoysia in Asia yesterday, sort of. So he has the license to grow all zoysia in Asia, sort of. So got some great knowledge out of him yesterday, and he has said he may be in Sydney next week and may drop in and see us. So to have someone like that with the skill set that he has for zoysia in Asia would be a great benefit for us going forwards. So the worst thing I don't like about zoysia is the earthworms. So the worm castings you see in those areas. Playability-wise, it's ugly. For our mowers, it's even worse because it dulls our mower blades. There's no real control for earthworms. We are trialling some products at the moment, which is it's an organic fertiliser, but the only way you can put it out is in heavy rainfall. So it may look weird that you may next week see us out in the rainfall actually spraying these areas. It will look quite weird, but the only way this actually works is by heavy rainfalls. This is going to sound a bit sad, but we actually suffocate the worms, so they actually play with their nervous system, and you'll see them freaking out on the surface, and to the point we'll have to actually go with grass rakes and rake it up. That's how successful it is if we do that sort of thing. So outside of that, probably Killara in the winter. We've got quite a few projects planned for this winter. A lot of drainage work going on. Our main focus for drainage is a lot of it is going to be on the farm working around the 5th green 6T area. We actually have found a block pipe there, actually a pipe that was just cut off and backfilled during construction, so that's not going to be pretty to fix, but we'll work on that. And also down around 6th green 7T is going to be a big focus over the back there. And then when we come over to Bradfield, we're going to sort out that wet area between 11 green and 12T. So that'll be our big focus areas. We've got some broken pipes around the place that we have to, and broken sumps that we have to get in with an excavator and dig out. So that'll be on our list as well. And then the big one is definitely going to be vegetation. I think our new horticulturalist, Jeff, is doing a great job in those areas that he's been working in so far, especially over the Bradfield paddock. So we're going to jump in and give him a hand through the winter. And obviously we also have that Bush Care volunteer group that's here every Thursday to help us out there as well. So looking at that, I feel good about the place. I still enjoy coming here, so that's probably a good thing. And I'm still married, so I know that's a good thing. So she hasn't hated me yet. So that's me and the maintenance going forward, sort of thing. So, any questions?
So Monkey is available to answer some questions. So if anyone would like to ask a question, put your hand up. I'll grab a microphone so everyone can hear.
So you, Pat.
I'll answer the question.
Can we please cut off the passageway between the green and bunkers, particularly say holes like the 3rd, I can go around the golf course, where between a green and a bunker is unacceptable. You need to put concrete blocks. Walk, run.
No, I totally agree. And say there is some rope and stake out there. I drill into my guys every morning in my toolbox, meaning that if you see it down, you must put it straight back up, because we will move it to mow and go back up. But yeah, I would say it's a golfer's thing. We all sheep and we find the quickest route to the next tee. Something, but yeah, and especially zoysia. Once you wear that zoysia out, there's no chance of it coming back. So a lot of those areas we will have to actually re-turf from there, sort of thing. So if people can avoid going through there, I'm sure myself and the team would much appreciate it, because yeah, we prefer not to re-turf it out. Hey.
The areas of zoysia that run down to the drains don't seem to be coping very well. Is there a solution to that?
Yeah, we'll actually put drainage around those sumps. So those areas, when it was installed, it just virtually put the pit in to catch surface water. We'll actually put we call it a herringbone system around each one of those sumps to get that extra water, because especially with the thatch levels in the zoysia, the water's just going to sit there and not seep through. So we'll actually put proper pipe drainage in those areas around those sumps. Done, easy. Oh, well, I'm done. Oh no, I'm done now. Be nice, huh?
Don't want to be on the spot. We've had a lot of discussions about this in the past, but you mentioned that you're really happy with where it is, and the sand movement obviously has done a wonderful job. And yet, you're not a fan of sand moving, and would not continue to sand move. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, certainly. So we've had plenty of discussion about this, Alan. I always class sand grooving as a secondary drainage option. So my preference for drainage would be trench and pipe, gravel, sand. And I always have sand grooving as that secondary one. So once the pipes and the sand trench actually silts up or becomes filled up that you can't drain so much, that's when I would sand groove. Again, I'm saying I don't like it, but it's done a good job here, but I could never do it again, because I think with such a fine line like that, if you change the direction of that, we're going to actually rip turf out of it, because it's such a fine gap between those things. So I know past there was plans to turn directions and go over it all again. I would have a great fear that we would actually rip grass out of the ground. So that I just don't, there's not that big a root structure in there to actually do such a fine line on it again, so like that. So, and I still think some of this sand grooving needs to actually have pipe drainage to get it away. There is some areas that has been sand grooved, but there's no exit point for that water to get out. So it fills up, the trench actually fills up with water and has got nowhere to go. Something like that. So that's why you'll find some sand grooved areas are extremely wet, because there's no actual exit point for the water. It just virtually fills up the trench and sits there until it naturally seeps out through the profile. from there. But yeah, I did say I didn't like sand grooving, but I think it's worked well here, but I would never do it again, and it's something I wouldn't look at doing for 10 to 15 years. I think drainage has a 10 to 15 year lifespan, so you put pipe drainage in, 15 years time, I would do a sand groove like that sort of thing. So at the same time, potentially maybe in 15 years time, if I'm still here, I will still be here, sorry. We would potentially do that where those current sand grooves that we have in the ground actually have a root system going through it, so we wouldn't actually rip any sand, any turf out of the ground.
Well said.
Is that okay, Alan?
That's good. Okay. Can't take me down.
Only his table's been rehearsing all the whole round. It's a setup.
Mark, we had a game a couple of months ago and you asked me my comments on the course and I was very critical of the bunkers. Since then, the bunkers have been much improved. Having said that, balls are still plugging in the face. Do we have a solution to that? But since I've been in bunkers, the bottom of the bunkers, the preparation of them has been so much better, but there's still the problem with the base.
Yeah, for sure. And to go to the bases first, we actually changed our preparation. So previously they called it a bunker bike. So it would go in with a blade system on the back. I'm not a big fan of them. So I went out and purchased it's almost like a rotary hoe, a portable rotary hoe. So after a rain event, we'll actually send the guys out with a couple of them and turn that sand over. So that helps with the softening up. Because previously, I think the sand just compacted so hardly on the bases that you couldn't get. So we actually mechanically go in now and turn that sand over. And we're actually double raking a lot of the bases now, where previously we used to single rake the bases, so we double rake them now as well. So that even helps to turning over the sand softness. Firmness in bunker faces, it's a big talking point at the moment because, say, my predecessor's going through it at the Australian at the moment as well. So a lot of it is we have to go in with a machine and actually roll it up and down the face with one of our carts that you see us driving around in. It's just very, you sort of almost have to go backwards to go forwards with that because, say, driving a cart up and down a bunker sand face, it's obviously going to soften a bit more. But I'm talking to a few people that there's some products that you can maybe spray on there to firm those faces up and everything like that. But the less disturbance we can have on those faces from golfers and things like that is the best way to get firmness. And I'd love to answer your question, but I think it's a golf industry-wide thing that we're still working on, called fried eggs. It's an industry-wide problem we're having at the moment. Yeah.
But Mark, is there still a shortage of sand, or have you got enough sand?
No, there's plenty of sand. Yeah. Yeah, the shortage of sand was for a different kind of sand that we use. That was when the Australian was building all their bunkers and Eleanor was doing theirs. So we actually have a slightly different sand to what they were using. That was where the shortage was. Yeah.
And the discoloration on the face of the bunkers, is that fungus or?
It's just straight up mould. We're trying to work on that. The best way everyone says to do it is to skim it out, but if you take sand out, you've got to put sand in and it becomes awfully expensive. The problem we have, everyone says just spray chlorine on it. If you spray chlorine, it comes to the base and you throw it up when you play your shot to sand splash, you're going to kill grass. Probably don't want to do that because I have seen another golf course where they actually sprayed a pre-emergent herbicide in the bunkers to get rid of weeds and they lost 3/4 of a green because there was a sand splash coming out. So, yeah. So, fear of that, we're trying some things because I think the biggest thing I've got to fix is the actual algae and mould on the revetted faces because obviously any rain events, that comes off the faces into the sand. So a lot of places where you see the dirty sand, you look up at the revetted face, it's got mould all over it. So once we try and work on that, I'm doing some trial work there because I don't know if anyone's seen it, but I did spray chlorine on that to try and get rid of that, but I turned the synthetic grass white, so I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah, it's a nice hidden spot, no one's seen it good.
In all the years I've been a member here, I've never seen this much improvement in such a short time. I'm sure there's lots of stuff to fix. I just appreciate all the work you've done.
Thank you.
Congratulate you and your team.
Thank you.
I'll be cutting that out of the video.
Just that bit's fine.
Simple one, right? Your predecessor
The question was dye on zoysia. I did plan to spray on Monday, but we will do a light tinge on it, so we won't be turning it green, so it'll still be a great definition between the kayak and the green, but we will be doing some of it, and a lot of that is to help the plant just attract more sunlight during the colder months as well, but we won't be going dark at all. It'll be a very light tinge, almost unnoticeable.
Mark, there's a lot of timber sitting around the course that, you know, like greenkeepers waste, heavy timber.
Yep.
What's
So
happening?
we do have a mulcher or a chipper, and that's just been down at the moment. So that just got fixed today. So we'll actually go around and pick up those sites. I've made some of these designated sites purely because a lot of work's been going over there. Our tip site's over here, and because it's been so wet, I don't want carts going across ways like that. So just trying to minimise our movements on the golf course, because there's nothing worse than cancelling carts for the day and you see one of us go through a wet spot or constantly over a track like that. So we do have a chipper, and we're planning to, we'll send our chipper out and turn it into mulch.
All right. More questions? Hand back over to Peter. There you go. You can use this one.
There you go.
Thanks, Mark. That was fantastic. I think a couple of takeaways out of that. Stop taking your buggies between the edge of the bunker and the putting surfaces. It's gone. The other one, if any fishermen are amongst you, I think Mark will have plenty of worms for you. if you need any bait. But anyway, thanks, Mark. I mean, I think everybody agrees that we've just got a fantastic product out there. We're coming into some pretty tricky time now for our green peppers, so let's try and look after the course and help Mark and his team as best we possibly can. As far as course conditions are concerned, they are going to vary week to week, day to day, etc. So there'll be a notice in the newsletter that'll show you where to look for course conditions if you don't know it already. But I think it's a good thing just to make a bit of a habit, just to look at the app, look at the website on what the day's course conditions are, because it is a bit of a day-to-day proposition through winter. So just keep on top of that and keep on top of the course maintenance, and we'll have a great course through winter and into that summer. But thanks, Mark.
No worries.
Enjoy.
Thank you.